Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our Introduction to Economics review series. In today's video, we're going to be looking over the following terms, and much like part 1 of this review series, we're going to work through each of these terms and identify how they relate with one another. So to get started, we're going to be looking at command economy. This is going to be where a government makes all economic decisions. So there are going to be three primary decisions that a government is going to be responsible for making in a command economy. What to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce. An example of a command economy is going to be socialism. This is a system where the government owns the factors of production. If you recall, those factors are going to be land, labor, and capital. A common misunderstanding that students have is that socialism is the same thing as communism. Both of these are different economic systems. The similarities between these lies in the fact that both socialism and communism lack private property rights. The difference is that in socialism, we have a government who owns the factors of production, whereas in a pure communism system, we are going to see that the factors of production are owned by the people as a collective. Now, in order to transition from a market economy to a command economy, a government is going to need to nationalize privately held industries or private industries. So this is the transition of private ownership to government ownership. The opposite of a command economy is going to be a market economy, and this is going to be an economic system that is based on freedom of choice and voluntary exchange. Now, when a market is able to operate freely and efficiently, we're going to see that it will tend to gravitate toward its market equilibrium point. And this is going to be where quantity demand and quantity supplied are equal at a particular given price. Now, if you're familiar with the supply and demand model, which you should be by this point, you will be able to identify the market equilibrium on that supply and demand model by identifying where the supply and demand curves intersect with one another. Now, the first pillar that is required for a market economy to exist and to be successful is voluntary exchange. Now, this is an exchange where all parties anticipate a benefit. So there is no coercion or any sort of other negative treatment or any other way that one party might be forcing another party to participate in that exchange. So this exchange is voluntary, and it is up to the own individual free will of all acting members of that exchange. So all parties in the voluntary exchange, they are acting in this exchange or transaction because they anticipate that they will receive a greater benefit than the cost that will be associated with that trade. The second pillar that is required for a market economy to exist is going to be private property rights. So these are the rights to own resources and firms. Now, the easiest way to understand why private property rights are so crucial is to think about how you might maintain your own private property as opposed to a public space. So let's take the example of you owning a house, and then you have a front yard and a backyard. If you were to come home to your house and see that there was trash in your front yard, where your handrail was cracked or broken in any other way, chances are that you would go about picking up that trash and repairing that handrail, because the value of your property is tied directly into how well you maintain and present that property. Now, if you were to go to a public park and if you were to see trash or a broken table or handrail or bench, chances are you very well might go ahead and pick up trash if it's convenient or not out of the way. However, I highly doubt that if you were to walk by a broken bench, you would spend the time and resources necessary to fix that bench. Competition, this is going to be a third pillar or requirement that holds up a market economy. And this is going to occur when there are two or more economic agents. Now, what this means is that competition is going to occur in all market types except for a monopoly. So we will see competition in a perfectly competitive market, a monopolistically competitive market, an oligopoly, and a duopoly, which is a market structure where there are two dominating firms. Now, competition is important because competition leads to innovation and lower prices, which are going to benefit consumers. It's also important to note that profit is the driving motivator for firms. The circular flow model, this is going to depict all of those voluntary exchanges in a market economy. So our circular flow model is actually going to show us the flow of money, resources, and products between households and firms. Mixed economy, this is going to be the most commonly used economic system today. And this is an economic system that has characteristics of both a market economy and a command economy. Now, all modern economies are going to be a part of the global economy, which entails economic interactions that cross international borders. So countries that are engaging in international trade are going to be part of that global economy. I hope this was helpful for you as you prepare for either your midterm or your final exam. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your exams.